you knew what this business was. And here's a common denominator.
But does everyone? I mean, you speculate before
Right.
you get there, and then
Right.
it's like
You get disillusioned.
you're like maybe because he don't look like he sucked dick. He don't look like he sucked dick.
But most dick suckers don't look like they suck dick. They don't want to look like dick suckers. They want to do that shit, son. What the niggas gonna walk around and be like this? Niggas don't walk around like that. It be the niggas like word to everything I love.
I love it, son.
You heard? Them niggas sucking dick too. Them you heard niggas are sucking dicks too, son. Y'all mean niggas are sucking dick? All them niggas. Yo, what up, cuz? Them niggas sucking dick too.
Yeah, what's up? This is Mr. Royce of Royce Media coming at you guys with another video. We are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. How y'all doing today, man? Happy Monday. Back to the grind. Actually, y'all pretty much in the middle of the day of the grind. Getting towards the back half. So you can get ready to clock out and go home. Yeah. How y'all doing today? I'm doing good. As for me, I've been working on a project around my house. I'm always working on projects around my house to try to get some stuff together to keep my house looking nice. It seems like it is a never-ending job. I think I work now that I'm retired, more than when I was actually going to a 9 to 5. It is what it is, though. So what's going on, man? There's a lot happening around the world of YouTube. Lots of shenanigans. You know, the puffy jokes have been they've been coming in pretty regularly. You know, more revelations, more hearsays and rumors about them. You know, that's pretty much what happens when the bullseye's on you and they snatch the cover off you. That's what happens. We just saw that video with Donnell Rollins pretty much talking about the culture in Hollywood and entertainment. And yeah, that's probably the case. Lots of times it is. I just saw a meme of another actor who, you know, he plays a tough guy on TV, but they showed him on the red carpet and he was looking like his name was Lil Tay Tay. So it is what it is. I can't call it, you know? I can't call it. Yeah, look at that, man. You know, as soon as I say something YouTube doesn't like, my stream gets disrupted. But we will continue. It is what it is. So what y'all got going today, man? What y'all got going today? I swear, with YouTube, I think I have a person assigned to me, you know, or something in the algorithm that says the minute he says something that is politically incorrect, disrupt his scene, because disrupt his stream because we don't like him. I think that's what's going on. Because it was all good until, you know, I said something about the little Tay Tay. You know, it is what it is. You know, at this point, I'm used to it. At this point, I'm definitely used to it. So, you know, it is what it is. So, anyway, how's my volume? How am I sounding? You know, other than the stream disruption, how am I sounding? Am I sounding decent? Are we good to go? I hope so. Yeah. It's annoying, but you know, can't do anything about it. Anyway, what do y'all want to talk about today, man? What do y'all want to talk about today? Let's see with the Let's see. Let's find some stuff to talk about, man. What I want to do is, before I get going, everybody that's on the different platforms, as you come into the chat areas, as you click on the screen, do me a favor, hit that like button, and if you're really brave, announce yourself in the chat, say hi, and if you're feeling really generous, you really want to help me increase the viewership of this channel, drop something in the cash app. Help your boy get this what he's doing bigger. Help me get bigger and better. Like and share this with your friends. Tell your buddies about it. Hey man, boy, Mr. Royce be over there, man. He be babbling, man. He can be entertaining. So, you know, you can listen while you work, which I know that's what some of you all do. And, I appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly. Let me look and see if I can find some stuff to talk about while we're doing that. Do me a favor, come on into the stream. I ain't gonna be on too long because I got to get back out there and work on that project. I just wanted to make sure I got this done before I get back to working on the stuff I got to work on. I tell you this much. I need to work harder and need to make do some more content. You know what I'm saying? Got to get some more content done because I got to grow this channel. So, whoa, Red Supreme, one of my YouTube creators that I'm cool with he's doing a live stream right now, talking about a divestor who got deleted by Zaddy. So I might have to I might check that out on the replay. That'll be replay gang. Hopefully some of you all replay gang what I'm doing, and hopefully I can make some material you guys like. Let me get back on see what I can find out as far as what's newsworthy to talk about. Last week we talked a little bit about that Dexter Reed situation in Chicago. What do you all think about that? What do y'all think about that? I think that Dexter Reed played a stupid game and won a stupid prize. Unfortunately for him, it is what it is. When you're out there, doing suspicious stuff and living the life of crime, and you make decisions regarding that are counterproductive to living a peaceful life, you are prone to experience the circumstances of that. So it is what it is. Oh, I got something we can look at. Let's look at this situation where Trump went to a Chick-fil-A and was doing basically, he was working the crowd there, speaking with the people, taking pictures, kissing babies, whatnot, doing the politician thing. Let's take a look at that. Let me see if I can pull that up. We'll take a look at it and then we can talk about it if you guys would like to do that. All right, let me see what I got right here, man. Uncle Don. All right, let's just go into it. Check it out. Fair use, courtesy of Fox News. Let's go.
So, an unforgettable moment on the campaign trail for one voter who got a big hug from Trump at an Atlanta Chick-fil-A while he met with supporters. Watch.
care what the media tells you, Mr. Trump. We support you.
We love you.
Okay, 4 p.m. We've been 4 p.m.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
Please
Well, in my opinion, that's pretty awesome. Hold on. We pause that. In my opinion, that's pretty awesome. You know, the interaction between former President Trump and this young lady at this Chick-fil-A. But I'm pretty sure a lot of the leftists, a lot of the Democrats, a lot of the BGMs were triggered by this. They didn't like what they saw, and it is what it is. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
Look at the joy. Here to tell us about it is that young woman herself, Michaela Montgomery. She's also the founder of a grassroots political group to conserve the culture. Michaela, I've been waiting for this interview all morning. So
I've been waiting for this my whole life.
So thanks so much for joining us. So you told the president when you were hugging him, I don't care what the media says, we support you. Tell me what you meant by that.
I am so glad that is the first question you asked me. So, of course, in the excitement of everything, I wasn't able to really relay my message, but the general consensus or social media would have you thinking that if President Trump were to show up to the HBCU campuses or walk around the AUC community, that like some angry mob would form or a riot would ensue and that he would not be welcomed. And clearly the sentiment in that room the other day was the complete opposite. He was very welcome. People were excited to see him. People showed up.
Let's talk about that for a moment, man. I've seen different video clips of Trump going to different places, and he seems to be received well. You know, usually the people that don't like him tends to be white women, white liberal women. I have yet to see, well, no, I take that back because Bill Burr's wife, she expressed her displeasure to Trump being at a UFC event that her and Bill Burr were at. So I got to take that back. But, in general, you see Trump being pretty much well received everywhere he goes. And so I think here in this Chick-fil-A, I don't think it was any different. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
In support of him, and people of course were from all 4 institutions within the AUC, the local HBCU community in Atlanta, and they all showed up in support of him. So it's actually kind of crazy to see people in an uproar when all 4 institutions were legitimately represented and all 4 institutions were represented by said students who wanted to support President Trump.
Michaela,
and I appreciate that we were able to not only let him know that regardless of what social media says, I know they're trying to make us think we're supposed to hate you, but we don't. And additionally, it was a learning experience for my students because they were able to see and experience firsthand how the media can warp the perception of an opinion or a person. Because
Let's stop right there for a second. So this young woman is a school teacher, and she talked about, the learning lesson in this experience that her students experienced. And I think I think it's cool. I think it's much better than the kids experiencing a Sexy Red concert at their school or Glorilla concert. I think I'd rather see this, but some people think Sexy Red showing up doing one of her songs, the Ski Wee song, is better. But let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
like I said, to think that these students who attend these illustrious institutions aren't smart enough to make their own decisions.
That's
so
right.
much so that they would only show support for Trump because he bought chicken sandwiches and milkshakes.
It's offensive.
That in itself is the most disturbing part of it all, especially when you think about the fact that it was mainly urban media outlets that were doing everything in their power to turn other black people against these young black kids who simply were not shy to explore other options.
It's so
Well, I'm sitting here talking, running my mouth, man. Um, anyway, we're gonna pull up this next video. Some stuff from the latest Trump trial. I guess this is one of the first criminal trials that he'll be
When Barbara switched to
fighting.
TurboTax.
So let's take a look at that. Hold on, let me get that commercial out of the way. Well, I tell you, YouTube do not want to let me be great at all. Let's stop right here for a second. So we see that on this particular video, it's talking about, I guess Trump's legal team filed a motion to have the Judge Merchant, recuse himself from this criminal trial because he is allegedly biased against Trump, which I believe it's likely true. First of all, when you talk about New York it's very blue, it's very Democrat, it's very Dixiecrat, it's very leftist. I'm not going to say liberal because I think the meaning of that word has been lost, but it's very on the blue side. And as we have already seen, and has been demonstrated quite a bit, the Democrats are out to eliminate Trump from being able to run for president, and they're doing any and everything they can with the power of lawfare and policy fair to disqualify Trump from running for president. So I am not surprised that the Trump legal team had to file this appeal or had to file this request, and I'm not surprised that the judge denied that request. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use. All right, we're going to end that video there. What do you guys think about that? I think the Trump legal team has a point and that they're probably right. The thing about it is it's not what's right or wrong, it's what you can prove. And according to this judge, which, this may be a decision rooted in bias, but the Trump legal team has not provided the evidence that the judge has a bias against Trump. So we'll see how that happens, but they are pulling out all the stops to try to get Trump out of the car. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting. I think more things are going to ramp up as we get closer to the election. I think going back to that Dexter Reed situation in Chicago, I think that's going to be used as a vehicle to try to rally black vote, because right now I think Democrats are really having a hard time rallying that vote because a lot of black Americans don't like what they see, and they're talking openly about voting for Trump. That is much to the chagrin of Democrats and stuff like that. So we'll see, man. We'll see. It's going to be ugly. I think this summer is going to be a hot one. As far as the political climate, it is definitely going to be a hot one. It'll be. I think it's going to make 2020 look like a walk in the park. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think we haven't seen anything yet. Let's look at some more news. Let's look at some more news. So we see Iran is on the warpath against Israel. So you know what that means? That means that the U.S. will be sending financial and logistical support to Israel to be able to retaliate and defend itself against Iran. I think this situation is going to get progressively worse in the coming weeks. And I think that recruitment efforts by the U.S. military will escalate, even though the numbers of people who are responding positively to those recruitment efforts will continue to lag. People don't want to be bothered, man. They just don't want to be bothered. We have a situation, and we have a generation of people that are of the eligible warfighting age. They don't want to be bothered. They the things that they've seen in their lifetimes makes them say that they don't want to be bothered. And plus how they are indoctrinated in the schools, they don't want any part of that. So let's take a look at this story real quick about the world waiting on Israel's response to the Iran attack. I saw a video a couple days ago of missiles being launched at Israel, and you know the Israelis are going to respond, and they are definitely going to they're going to bring a big bang with them. Whatever side of that situation that you're on, rest assured that the Israelis are going to respond in a definitive manner. Let's take a look at this news clip. Fair use, fair use. Let me pull this up so we can take a look at it. Shout out to CBS News. The internet's is still acting goofy. Of course. It'll come up momentarily.
President Biden is meeting with the Prime Minister of Iraq at the White House today. The scheduled meeting follows Iran's unprecedented airstrikes against Israel over the weekend. Iran fired hundreds of missiles and drones towards Israel over the weekend, but the vast majority of them were intercepted before entering Israeli territory. Officials say U.S. aircraft operating out of bases in Jordan and Saudi Arabia shot down dozens of those drones.
As the president told Prime Minister Netanyahu on the phone Saturday night, this was an extraordinary success, and you ought to look at it as an extraordinary success. Israel proved that it's not alone, and they proved that they're militarily superior to Iran, and they ought to consider what that success actually means in the region. There's no.
That is courtesy of U.S. tax dollars. So hey, it is what it is. You want to see your tax money at work? There it is. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
Reason for this to escalate further. The president doesn't want a wider war in the region. Everything he's been doing since October 7th has been designed to prevent that. And of course, we're not looking for a war with Iran.
Israel reported only minor damage to a military base. The airstrikes marked Iran's first ever direct offensive against Israel. Iran carried out the attack in response to a deadly airstrike on its consulate in Syria earlier this month. Israel is believed to have carried out that attack, but has not yet claimed responsibility for it. CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tayyib is following all of this from Tel Aviv, Israel. Imtiaz, is great to have you. So talk to us about the reaction across Israel. I'm sure it's a big sigh of relief for people.
Hey, don't old boy look like a James Bond villain? He reminds me of that Jaws guy from those old James Bond movies. Anyway, let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
people.
Liliana, it's really fascinating. You know, here we were on Saturday night into early Saturday morning, and history was made in the most shocking way. For the first time in the Islamic Republic of Iran's history, its 44-year history, it launched a direct attack on Israel, a country it has long had a very, very fractious relationship with, very, very brutal relationship with. And there we had it. We had over 300 cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and drones launched from Iran targeting Israel. It's extraordinary. In fact, we were standing here on this very balcony, and we could not only see some of the interceptions happening, we could also see aircraft coming in from other countries as they aided Israel in repelling that Iranian assault. Now, the mood here in Israel, as you can imagine, was one of absolute worry and concern. But what's really interesting is over the last several hours is things have kind of changed. You know, we have to remember on October 7th, when Hamas carried out that brutal attack in which 1,200 people were killed, 200 people were taken hostage, that Israelis in that moment, and for the several months since then, 6 months since then, had lost a large amount of faith in their military, in the people who are there to protect them, because it failed on that day. And they're still living with that trauma. However,
Yeah, let's talk about that. So that whole situation that happened last year with Hamas going into Israel and launching those attacks and stuff, I have a lot of questions about that, and I don't know if that's something I could actually talk about on YouTube, but what I do know is that Israel has a very robust intelligence infrastructure, and that was something that they should have caught a long time ago and put things in place to deter or prevent a situation like that happening. And, you know, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I have my questions about whether it was possibly allowed or not, or, you know, or Israel had faulty intelligence prior to the commencement of that event. But, you know, at this point, it's just speculation. It has already happened, and, you know, now other things are in play, and we'll see how that goes. But with Iran launching this strike in retaliation to the last strike that Israel did, it's going to be interesting to see how this situation escalates, because I don't see it tapering off, or an effective peace deal will happen anytime soon. So, you know, it's like the Ukraine situation, you know, almost 3 years later, the Ukraine situation is still going. So, you know, no telling how much further that's going to go. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how how it impacts our upcoming elections here in the U.S. That's going to be very interesting. So, you know, we'll see. That's the only thing we can do is wait and see, and take steps to protect ourselves and protect our families. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
this weekend, Israel's missile defense and support from the US, UK, France, Jordan repelled that Iranian assault, which I think has given Israelis confidence in a way that they haven't had in a long time. But there's still a huge amount of worry, and that worry is because Israeli leaders still want to carry out a retaliatory strike against Iran, even though the U.S. has said, don't do it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about, Imtiaz, because I think that the whole world is kind of holding their breath. The U.S. has urged Israel to just practice restraint. You know, this was a retaliatory attack after that alleged attack by Israel in Syria onto that diplomatic buildings. So do you, and from your reporting, expect that Israel will in fact respond and ignore the urging from the United States and keep this going?
I think we have to accept the fact that there is a more than likely chance that Israel will retaliate. What that looks like, we still don't know. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Not least because the President of the United States, Joe Biden, has said to Israel, listen, you've won here. You not only were able to carry out that strike in Syria 2 weeks ago, in which a number of Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders were killed, you were
All right, let's stop for a second. It's funny that our president has told Netanyahu that they won and to stop. I think him stepping out there and saying something like that, trying to tell another country how to deal with retaliation is, I think he stepped out his bounds. Um, I guess you call it foreign policy, but the thing about it is, if Iran did this attack last night, I think Israel is well within its right to retaliate. It's unfortunate for the Palestinians. It's unfortunate for the Israelis. It's unfortunate for any of the other people that are in that area and can't get out. It's unfortunate for all of those people because most of those people just simply want to live life. They want to live life and be relatively safe and be able to take care of their families and stuff. But they have this war looming over their heads, and it's very uncomfortable. I think that in light of what we have going on with this immigration situation, we're going to see more immigration coming from that area in the Middle East to the U.S. It's probably already happening. We just haven't heard much about it because the bulk of the news stories are talking about the Venezuelans and the Hondurans and the Chinese and the Haitians and Africans that are crossing the southwest border. So there hasn't been a whole lot of talk about Middle Easterners coming across, even though we know it's happening. But it's been pretty quiet. So we'll see. Like I said, this summer is I think we're in for a wild ride this summer. And I think people coming from these places will play a part in that. In addition to, you got to remember, we have people in the country from Afghanistan. We have people in the U.S. coming from, other Arab countries, and a lot of the countries that people are coming from are countries where the population are in opposition to the U.S. and not all of those people are coming over to seek asylum. They're coming over to carry out missions of mayhem. So law enforcement, all the intelligence agencies, all public safety, different things like that need to be vigilant, need to look for things that are out of the ordinary, look for things that are hidden in plain sight, because we are primed for something chaotic to happen. And, in addition to the upcoming 2024 election, there's going to be a lot of motivation to do crazy stuff to steer the elections in a certain direction, especially since how it was done in the previous election. It's kind of been the veil has been lifted on that, so now people are more cognizant of what to look for. Well, some people and a lot of the people who it is important that they follow that stuff, are, well aware of what happened in the previous election. But hindsight is 2020. The thing is that we have to use that information. That information has to be used to prepare for the future. And so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's continue fair use, fair use.
We're also able to successfully repel this Iranian assault. You've won here. That's what the president said to Prime Minister Netanyahu. But the mood here in Israel is very different. And we have to remember that Prime Minister Netanyahu has a coalition government which is comprised of what has been described as the most extreme, far-right government in Israel's history. This is a hawkish coalition that he presides over, and they want a response. And so Israel's leadership has said they are going to respond. But they haven't said when, they haven't said how, but it's very likely that at some point they will. But again, we have the U.S. and other Western powers, and including powers in the Middle East, that Israel wants to be aligned with, saying, don't do this. The war in Gaza has
Okay, so let's end that video right there. What do you guys think? What do you guys think, man? I've already pretty much said what I think. Israel is going to respond. We don't, and as the reporter said, we don't know when and how, but they are going to respond. And the thing about it is, we won't know until it's either happening or after it happens. It is my speculation that it's going to be something big. It's going to be something that's going to involve a lot of different strikes, specific targets, and we'll see. We'll see. So, what do you guys think about that, man? Yeah, yeah. Let's see what y'all talking about on Facebook. So, if we got anybody over there looking at the stream on Rumble? See what we got going on Rumble. Yeah, man. So let's take some more news. Let's take a look at some more news before I jump up off here. Let me pull this up and see what we got going on in this next story. It's something we can talk about. Let's see what we got here. Oh my God. And this internet is running as slow as maple syrup on a cold winter day in Wisconsin. Super slow, man. Super slow. I had to clean a lot of this nonsense off my computer, man. Off this MacBook. Okay. That's not doing what I wanted to do. Let's see. Okay, this is about that Trump trial. that we're looking at. So let's see what the news has about that. Man, this is running real slow. Really, really slow. All right, let me. You know what? I don't even be bothered with that one, man. Well, we know the jury selection is happening today, and we talked about before where Trump's legal team filed that motion to have the judge recuse himself from the trial, and the judge refused, and we know why. You know, it is what it is. So apparently, New York is now cooperating with authorities to do deportations of migrant criminals. This must be something that just started because I saw a few news stories earlier of situations where the migrants were, police were called because of disturbances involving the illegal immigrants, and the police went out. They may have taken someone into custody, but ultimately that person was released without a bond. They didn't need a bond to be released, and they were back out on the street causing more ruckus. So if it is indeed that deportations are starting from New York of the illegal migrants, and that's definitely a change in direction. What do you guys think? I think at this point it may be too little too late, because not only are you going to have people that are going to slip through the cracks, but you're going to see criminal-minded U.S. citizens be further emboldened to commit crimes because they're seeing how the migrants are being handled with kid gloves, and they're also looking at their past experience of being able to get away with committing crimes, often with just tap on the wrist or with nothing at all. They're going to be further emboldened, and this is why I keep telling you all there's going to be a new crime bill, because the pendulum is going to swing the other way. It just is. Right now, we're already seeing that in Oregon with the decriminalization of drugs. That experiment that happened after the 2020 election, we're in Oregon, they decriminalized all the illicit drugs, and we see what happened. If the police would stop someone who seemed high, or someone that would be caught in possession of user amounts of narcotics, they would be given a ticket, and the ticket would be dismissed if they called a treatment and social services program. And from what I saw, it was 1% of those people call. So hey, the people that want to get they want to get high, they want to get high. It's like when you're dealing with crackheads, like crack. People that like getting high, that's the people that get high mostly because they like it. That's, you can call it self-medication, you can call it, coping or whatever. At the end of the day, people like getting high. For whatever reason they do, at the base of it, they like doing what they do. And so, the thing about it is, because of that, Oregon has seen, Portland in particular, They've seen an increase of overdose deaths. They've seen, further disintegration of the social settings and the infrastructure. And they've seen more drug addicts. They've seen even more drug addicts. And, thing is it's affecting the people who aren't drug users, and it's reducing their quality of life, and so now the pendulum is swinging back the other day. Oregon has just passed legislation to recriminalize hard drugs. Even though the criminalization that they push for is misdemeanors, the thing about it is that it's still a misdemeanor charge. And I don't know how much that's going to impact the social setting in Oregon. This dog is in here like a ninja. Both of my dogs, man. Both of my dogs are in here like two ninjas. I had no idea that they were in here watching the stream. It is what it is. They've been pretty quiet, being pretty good. So I'm not mad at them. I like my little dogs. They're pretty cool. So I probably gotta take them out in a few minutes. So, I'll be shutting down the stream sooner than later. But yeah, man. So the pendulum is going to swing back the other way, as we see in places like New York, places like Portland. I think even with what happened in Chicago in the past, back in 2020, the George Floyd situation was used to galvanize the Black Democratic vote, and the Democrats rode that wave. They're trying to do the same thing with this Dexter Reed case, but I don't think people are buying it. At least not with this case. I think people are tired. The people that matter, the people that actually vote, they are tired of what's going on. They are annoyed to no end with the criminality that's happening. They're losing grocery stores and shopping centers and places of other stores. They're losing those places in their neighborhoods, and they're getting tired, man. They're getting tired. They with what's happening, they got to travel further, and spend more money to go to places. They got to deal with increased security measures, to go to the places that remain. They got to deal with higher taxes, all of that stuff. It's crazy. And in the meantime, Florida, the law and order state, is cracking down on the nonsense at all fronts. We just talked about last week that squatters law. They instituted legislation that would make it that would enable property owners to get squatters out of property a lot faster. There's still some bugs that need to be worked out. Florida has put out a public service announcement to people that are not from Florida about coming to Florida for spring break and tearing up the beaches and stuff. Florida basically said, we don't want you. We don't want you to come, which I agree with. Hey, if you from Chicago, you want to come to Florida for spring break, don't stay over there with, on Lake Michigan and Lakeshore Drive and 35th Street Beach and North Avenue Beach. And y'all deal with them heroin needles in the sand and, cadavers floating, floating up on the beach. Hey, y'all keep it. Y'all keep it, stay there, deal with the problem you all created. We good here in Florida. We don't want it, when they, I was the last person from Chicago that they allowed to move to Florida, and they closed it. After I moved, they said we don't want nobody else, you know. So hey, it is what it is, and it's good to see Governor DeSantis back focusing on running Florida. I think he's a great governor here, and I like a lot of stuff he's doing. You know, I don't. Of course, you're not going to agree with everything. I don't agree with everything, but so far, what I'm seeing, I'm good with. I'm good with. Anyway, listen, I gotta deal with my dogs and get back to the project I was working on. I may come back later, talk about some more stuff. Other than that, you guys finish up the workday. Be safe. Make it home safely to your kids and Big Shirley. You know, so you go cut the grass or whatever you got to do. Hey, this is Mr. Royce Media. Like, share, and subscribe. Get in the comment section. If you got something you want me to talk about, y'all know what to do. Hit me in an email or shoot me a DM on Facebook. And if it's something I can talk about, I'll talk about it. Until next time, y'all be easy. Later.